Super frustrated. No, I mean, like since Jurgen Klopp came in, I don't think we've ever faced the problem of scoring goals. It was never a problem. I think it was the other defensive side that we did it fixing, right? So after having 2 crazy years full of success, it's so weird to see us having such a long period of struggle in front of goal. But I guess with the return of some players, just recently, particularly Diogo Jota, I think it just brings a bit of spirit back towards the crucial end of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And no, I agree with you. They lost a spell of 7-8 games where, I think the 6 home games they lost, I think they scored 1 goal, and that was a penalty against Manchester City. But even before that, I felt that, they were always, as you said, I think with Van Dijk, it changed the whole dynamic of the team, because from an attack-minded team, all of a sudden they were one of the best teams, if not the best team defensively. But they still didn't lose their firepower going forward. But they weren't as clinical in recent months. I think they were very wasteful in front of goal. Because in the past, when they did have 2 or 3 chances, or when they had 5 chances, they would score 3 or 4 goals. I don't think there was ever a time where they didn't score a goal or scored only 1 goal and had 7 or 8 chances. I think that being clinical in front of goal was always one of their biggest strengths, and Mane and Salah didn't need many chances to score. Maybe they had a feeling that they created chances too easily, because as a player, sometimes when you create chances so easily, you can say, well, if I miss one, I get another one in 5 or 10 minutes. But I think when teams have started playing better against them, I think the balance was a different one without Van Dijk. It made us defensively more vulnerable. I don't think we controlled games as well as we should have done, because we didn't have that defensive stability with Van Dijk missing. And I think it was a combination of having less control in midfield and about games. And then also, I agree with you, in front of goal, they just weren't clinical enough. I think if you look at the home losses, maybe not all of them, but I think there were a few games where they shouldn't have lost the games. They lost 1-0 3 or 4 times. There were games where they definitely should have scored and they didn't.
Where do I start? Honestly, when we lost to Aston Villa 7-0, that's when I saw actually there is something wrong. Not to say that the tactic or the formation, because we've been using that formation for the last couple of years and we won the league. And some people say that, we've been doing the same thing and not producing, so we don't do this, we don't do that. When we look at Barcelona during Messi, Suarez time, they were using the same formation and they won a lot of games and they've scored a lot of goals, right? But like Didi said, they're not clinical enough. And I just feel like whenever, like the last couple of games, when we watch Salah plays, Mane, when they have the ball, I just feel like in my head, it's like telling me they're going to lose the ball. When they were dribbling the ball forward towards the goal, I would tell myself, they will never score this goal. They will lose the ball. And it happened again and again and again. Their creativity is not there. Is that fair to say? What do you think about that?
Yeah. No, and it might, if you think like this, if you watch them and you say, well, I don't think, if you watch them 2-3 years ago and they're the ball, you say something's going to happen here. and now it's completely the opposite. And this is, so your confidence in the player is not as big as it used to be. And I think the players feel the same now. I think the players feel, they know, because, they were unbeaten for so long, especially at home. I think they forgot what it's like to lose. And they lost the first game, and all of a sudden, I don't think they had any answers what to do. And I think the only thing you can do is work a little bit harder in training, and then on the Saturday. And then obviously they had a lot of different formations because they had a lot of injuries. And they just didn't control games as well. And maybe the forwards, when you do start to concede goals, because with Van Dijk, they kept a lot of clean sheets. Now, as a forward, if you start conceding goals as a team, the forwards know we have to do a bit more, because in the past, if we score 1 goal, it was enough to win games. Now, maybe we have to score 2 or 3. And that puts more pressure and emphasis on the attackers. And maybe they put a little bit too much pressure on themselves to say, well, we've got to do something now, because patience was another thing Liverpool always had. Liverpool always play the same. Whether it was 0-0, 1-0 down, 2-0 up, they always play the same. And I don't think they do that, or they did that anymore, because I think they panicked. A lot of the time, they panicked too early, where there was enough time to change games or to pull games back. And I think it's a combination of everything. I think as a team, they did lose confidence. I think that's without question, because otherwise they wouldn't have lost 6 games in a row at home. I think it'll be very hard to finish in the top 4, because they've got a few points behind and they've got 3-4 teams in between. The defenders won't come back. So if they want to finish in the top 4, they probably need, near enough to 20 points. And I don't think the way they play at the moment, they can do that.